My name's Morgan Shannon, and the Power Coalition is a statewide civic engagement table that works to activate power in Black and Brown communities throughout the state. And we do this through a myriad of ways. We do it through electoral organizing, so like get out the vote, registering people to vote. We do it through your traditional organizing, so around issues and a lot of different issues that intersect. And we do it through advocacy at the legislature or the city or federal level, resource redistribution, basically regranting money throughout the state to make it more equitable. We're Black women led, and we've been in existence for almost 9 years. I think it was really important through the beginning of Go Far to really be like a statewide coalition. And the reason for that is because if we were just looking at New Orleans or Baton Rouge, Southeast Louisiana, then perhaps we would have the Louisiana that we already are envisioning. But it was important from the beginning of Go Far to really make sure that we touched every part of the state to the extent that we can. And the way you can do that is to really be a coalition and get things done through people. It's really hard sometimes for one organization to be able to be everything to everybody. And in order for us to be able to move and like really go far, we needed those different parts of the state to be a part of it. But to be a part of it, you had to know what was going on in those states. A lot of us do listening sessions. Listening sessions is the way that we design our programs, the way we design our equity agenda, to make sure we're doing that deep listening that oftentimes decision makers will not do or cannot do, or for whatever reason, they just don't do it. But for us to be able to inform the work. So the early care and education needs in New Orleans are going to be totally different than what's happening in Monroe. Why? Because one, it's two different cities. I mean, even New Orleans and Baton Rouge are different. But two, like Monroe is rural. And so like the rural needs for education are going to be different than maybe where you have perhaps more child care centers. Well, the new administration, we took a little hard because we do electoral justice politics work. So we get out the vote and we talk about the importance of voting and mobilize people to vote. So that was a little chin check for Power Coalition. However, we did know what people are dealing with, and people are in a place of despair, and people are just really trying to get by. And at all levels of economic status, even people who are quote unquote on a middle class or something like that are struggling to be able to get by. And when you have all these competing priorities and competing needs, it's really hard to tell someone to go vote, because what is that going to do for me right now in this moment? And so we took it a little hard, but there were some bright spots, and we know what we need to do for 2024, which is really get back into community, and not just us, with our partners and things like that. So it's going to be really important that not only when we do these listening sessions, but that we are providing opportunities for people to be okay in today. So that might mean inviting different systems leaders to make sure that they're hearing from people, make sure we're inviting different benefits to make sure that people are receiving them, but also educating people on what the reality is right now and the power that they have to be able to change that trajectory. How are you holding your elected officials accountable? Where do they fall on the line of early care and education? And if not, then how are we making sure that they're accountable to you? I also think that our messaging is going to have to be different, that we're going to have to be able to talk to folks in the languages and the ways that they understand. And so what are we able to do to be able to move in those places? And then I think it's a rallying call for people outside of Louisiana, that we cannot do this alone, that we need help, so that might mean more philanthropic dollars need to come in. That might mean more high net worth individuals need to come in to be able to get us into a place where we can actually go far. This is when we need our brethren. I'm Morgan with the Power Coalition. Go far, Louisiana.